Okay, he's a very busy man. He does hundreds of radio talk interviews. True Tellers is the website. We'll give you the full address here in a moment. He's Reverend Ted Pike, and he fights the Southern Poverty Law Center, the ADL, the globalists, who openly in Europe have banned free speech. They're banning it in Canada. And I have the bills here in front of me. This has passed the House. And it has language I never saw before, which says whoever transmits in interstate or foreign commerce any communication, that's the internet, with the intent to coerce, intimidate, harass, or cause substantial emotional distress. And I've seen the federal judges argue, and he has the videos up on his site. Maybe we'll pull some of those up in a few minutes, where they're saying, no, if you hurt somebody's feelings, we're going to arrest you. So substantial emotional distress to a person using electronic means to support severe, repeated, or hostile behavior, hostile saying, I'm sick of your tyranny, shall be fined under this title or in prison not more than 2 years or both. And then it goes on to say anyone trying to influence politicians, anyone trying to, this is the end of free speech. This is the end of it. And they always say, oh, let's ban Nazis' free speech. Whether you love a Nazi's speech or hate a Nazi speech, whether you love a Black Panther speech or hate their speech, whether you like Mecha saying they're the God race and for the race everything, those outside the race nothing. The point is, they sell this idea, and then they want to restrict everybody's free speech and are openly saying in congressional hearings, ban free speech, ban architects and engineers, and they put them up next to Al-Qaeda training videos. So nobody has fought this like Reverend Ted Pike, and I saw the language in this and didn't think it could pass the House. It has passed, folks. It has happened. Just like the carbon bill and just like everything else is passing. This is the time the New World Order's taking over. So quick segment now. We'll do this for the rest of the hour, maybe a little bit longer if you can do it. We have another guest coming up. Reverend Ted Pike, tell us what's happening. I've never seen things this ominous, America in this much peril.
Well, actually, Alex, what you were quoting there from is the Anti-Defamation League's anti-bullying bill, which is a separate bill which is now in the House Judiciary.
But I saw the same language in the hate bill, correct?
Well, no.
And that federalizes local police.
Yeah, the hate bill, which is S-909, is a different piece of legislation, and that has passed the House. The anti-bullying bill is still in the House Judiciary. Now, what the federal hate crimes bill, S-909, the Matthew Shepard Hate Crimes Prevention Act, says back in its original 1968 hate law, which was passed at the height of the civil rights movement just after Martin Luther King was killed, it says in Title 18, Section 2A, that anyone, a talk show host, a pastor, even a person on the street corner, who uses language that might induce or incite some unstable person to commit a hate crime, he could be 2,000 miles away and hear you on the radio, then that original speaker can be tried as a principal in federal court right along with the active offender with a possible 10-year prison sentence. So you see, this big federal hate bill, which could go for a vote next week in the Senate, is basically a series of amendments on that original 1968 law, which was basically a hate crime, a speech law, but it really couldn't be enforced effectively because of something called states' rights in law enforcement, which prohibited the federal government from coming down any time it wanted and intervening and taking over in states' rights. All of those barriers, the 6 major barriers, will be washed away if the federal hate bill is passed in the Senate. And basically what it'll be doing is establishing a police-state system, a perfect unity, a seamless unity between federal policing powers and local policing powers.
Please continue.
Yes. Now, the big problem this week is the Democrats have decided they are going to attach the hate bill, S-909, onto the Defense Authorization Bill, which is up for a vote perhaps as early as next Wednesday. Now, we have a tremendous opportunity here now to destroy the hate bill because 2 weeks ago in the Senate Judiciary Committee, the Attorney General of the United States, Eric Holder, really messed up. He came in there with great prestige, and for 45 minutes he was supposed to undergird and support and strengthen the hate bill. Actually, he did exactly the opposite. He shut off his mouth and he said that this hate bill contrary to what it says on the first bill, the first page of S909, this bill will not protect all Americans according to race and religion and gender. No, he said, this is a very specific bill meant to protect only historically persecuted groups like blacks, like homosexuals, like Jews, etc.
So actually what this does is create a super group of super citizens, titles of nobility here in the United States. Go back into that. Go back into the fact, because I've read the bills, and you're absolutely right. You're the expert on this. There it is, federalizing all the local police further, teaching them with federal training by the ADL and Southern Poverty Law Center to be political officers. Jason Burmis's mom was driving into New York, went through the tollway, doesn't have a transponder, so they give you a little ticket card, and the ticket card said suspicious person, a yellow card, and the person said, I'm giving you this card because of your 9/11 truth sticker. And so she was then seen as a terrorist. They're already beginning the no-fly, no-buy, or no-buy, no-fly bills to ban you flying if you're on a no-fly list, to ban you having a job, 1,200,000 on it and growing each month by 24,000. It's this whole culture of Soviet-style secret police, commissariat, turning our local police into political officers. So I want you to go over that and then explain to us the hate bill versus the other bill. Then later we'll play the Holder clip. Reverend Ted Pike, truthtellers.org. You've got the floor. Break it down.
Well, as I was saying, Attorney General Holder has given a tremendous tool to those who want to defeat this hate bill. And what he said, again, is, number one, that they're contrary to what the bill says on the front page, that all American citizens, according to race, religion, or gender, will be protected by the federal government from violent hate crimes in the states if this bill is passed. Holder said, oh, no. This bill is for those historically victimized groups, basically of white Christian heterosexual civilization, primarily homosexuals, blacks, even women, Jews, on and on. And number two, what came out in the cross-examination in the judiciary 2 weeks ago was that Holder could not find a single example. He could not present any statistics that the states are not punishing violent hate crimes on the local level. He was again and again asked, and we have this in this 10-minute video at truthtellers.org. Again, Senator Sessions, Senator Coburn on this, just give us one example, and he couldn't. And you see, what this video does that we have at truthtellers.org is it knocks the foundation out of two of the very strongest arguments which the Anti-Defamation League has convinced not only the members of Congress, though, but of state legislators. ADL is proud at his website, adl.org, that it persuaded 45 U.S. states to adopt some version of its model anti-hate law. And right at the beginning of the argument of the ADL throughout the 1990s to legislators on the local level was this promise, oh no, this bill is not favoritistic toward some groups. This bill will protect everyone according to race, religion, and gender. See, it's written right there on the front page. And all these legislators said, well, that's great. Everybody's going to be protected. Now, astonishingly, the Attorney General of the United States is saying, no, this is an egalitarian, very discriminatory law against the 90% plus of the American people. This is only to protect those victims of historic Christian white heterosexual persecution. So what we have to realize is this is a massive scam, a massive takeover, a massive erosion of the First Amendment to the Constitution, giving us free speech, of the 10th Amendment to the Constitution, which tells the federal government to butt out of states' rights in law enforcement, and, of course, the 14th Amendment of the Constitution, which says the government can't exalt one group above the other. Now, what I am calling all Americans to do in the next several days is to call in to your senators. And also, at truthtellers.org, we have all 100 members of the U.S. Senate. Go there on the action page and spend some time this week, because the hate bill is scheduled to go through to possible passage by mid next week.